The series opens inside a movie theater where a father and his young son share a tub of popcorn while a campy superhero movie called Wonder Man plays on the screen. The boy, Simon Williams, watches in complete awe, unaware that this simple moment is quietly igniting a fascination that will shape his entire future. Years later, Simon has grown into a serious, disciplined actor and is thrilled when he lands a role on the newest season of American Horror Story. That excitement quickly curdles into arrogance. What begin as small suggestions about dialogue escalate into full script rewrites, constant challenges to character logic, and disruptive ideas that frustrate the cast and crew. Production grinds down, tensions boil over, and the showrunner finally snaps, writing Simon's character out and firing him without ceremony. Humiliated and furious, Simon returns home to find his girlfriend, Vivian, packing her belongings. She explains that she's leaving because Simon is emotionally unavailable and completely consumed by his ambition. After she walks out, Simon grips the bathroom sink, barely holding himself together. Seeking comfort, Simon goes to a sparsely attended theater to watch Midnight Cowboy, a film he deeply reveres. The only other audience member is Trevor Slattery, who loudly finishes a phone call before the screening begins. After the movie, the two fall into an intense and unexpectedly heartfelt conversation about its performances, legacy, and meaning. Just as they begin to connect, Trevor cuts the discussion short, explaining he's late for an audition for a new Von Kovac project, ironically titled Wonder Man. Enraged, Simon storms into his agent Janelle Jackson's office, demanding to know why he was never told about the audition. Janelle brushes him off with a joke, mentioning rumors that Leonardo DiCaprio might take the role. Simon insists the production is clearly looking for someone new, but Janelle says it's too late. The final audition day is already underway and leaves him alone. Simon then digs through her emails, finds the audition details, and books himself a slot while racing across town. At the audition, Simon fills out paperwork, including a waiver confirming he has no superpowers. While waiting, his worst habits resurface. He overanalyzes the script, mentally rewrites lines, and spirals into anxiety. Trevor emerges from his own audition looking confident and immediately notices Simon unraveling. He pulls Simon into the bathroom, tells him to breathe, and urges him to stop overthinking and simply say the lines as written. Grounded by the advice, Simon delivers a powerful audition. Grateful, Simon invites Trevor to lunch, where they continue talking about acting, purpose, and destiny. Trevor hints ominously that something important has been set in motion. Simon laughs it off, unsure what Trevor means. Soon after, as Trevor sits down with his salad, he receives a chilling phone call. The voice on the other end warns him that Simon Williams is superpowered and poses a serious national security threat. The caller makes it clear they won't stop until Simon is found and detained. A flashback reveals Trevor returning to the U.S. from Asia. While chatting with a fellow passenger who recognizes him from an old medical drama, Trevor is suddenly swarmed by FBI agents at the airport and arrested. He's taken to an interrogation room and questioned by Agent Cleary of the Department of Damage Control. Trevor argues his past crimes were already punished, but Cleary calmly counters that he never completed his full sentence. Instead of sending him back to prison, Cleary offers Trevor a deal: help Damage Control capture Simon Williams. The plan is to use Trevor as bait, luring Simon with another Wonder Man audition. Back in Los Angeles, Janelle confronts Simon after casting alerts her to the unauthorized audition. Simon admits what he did and apologizes, but insists he can't walk away from the role. Irritated but resigned, Janelle tells him to stay in line, record a self-tape for casting agent Ruth, and wait. Simon throws himself into preparation with obsessive intensity. He prints scripts, runs lines endlessly, and records multiple takes, each playback only increasing his dissatisfaction. While scrolling through his phone, he finds an old video of Vivian helping him rehearse for a past role. The memory overwhelms him. His frustration spikes, the apartment subtly trembles, and outside, a sudden, unseen energy surge sets off a car alarm. Elsewhere, Trevor meets Cleary at a restaurant. Cleary worries that involving Trevor may be a mistake. Before the discussion continues, Simon texts Trevor asking for help with his audition tape. Cleary immediately outfits Trevor with a hidden body camera and gives him a tracking ring designed to collect data once placed on Simon's computer. Trevor arrives at Simon's apartment, but Simon insists they leave, saying the space feels emotionally poisoned after the breakup. Their first attempt to film the audition takes them to a video rental store called Ahoy Tapes. The owner, contractually obligated to read opposite Simon, proves completely incapable, forcing them to abandon the plan. Running out of options, Trevor calls in a favor and secures access to Joe Pantoliano's house. Simon is visibly starstruck meeting Pantoliano. Tensions rise when Trevor accuses him of stealing the lead role on their old hospital drama. Pantoliano calmly reminds Trevor discover that Trevor himself asked him to take the part, worried he couldn't handle the pressure. Though Trevor remembers the moment unsettles Simon, and they leave. Shortly after Pantoliano bluntly suggests Trevor's career is over. Back at Simon's apartment, they finally record the audition tape. Satisfied, Simon steps into the bathroom and casually suggests ordering pizza. Left alone, Trevor removes the tracking ring and slips it onto Simon's laptop as data begins transferring. While waiting, Trevor pulls back a sheet covering a wall and discovers a large concealed hole. When Simon returns, Trevor distracts him with pizza talk, giving himself just enough time to retrieve the ring and leave no evidence behind. A flashback shows a young boy sitting in a doctor's office after surviving a house fire. His mother anxiously asks if he's safe, while the boy's older brother coldly implies the fire was his fault. The doctor delivers an impossible diagnosis. No injuries whatsoever, no burns, no smoke damage, not even irritated skin. In the present, damage control faces mounting pressure. Secretary Dan demands results as Congress questions the agency's funding. Soon after, Cleary wires up Trevor and sends him to gather information at a birthday party for Simon's mother. Meanwhile, Simon spirals while waiting for news about his audition, repeatedly calling Janelle until she snaps and orders him to stop. Trevor overhears and helps Simon calm down by running lines together. Simon then remembers the family gathering he's been dreading. Trevor asks to come along and Simon agrees, hoping his presence will deflect criticism. At the house, Simon's mother Martha warmly welcomes them, thrilled that Simon has brought a friend. Trevor meets Simon's older brother Eric, who instantly recognizes him as the Mandarin. Trevor brushes it off as a role taken to pay debts. During dinner, Eric offers Simon a job at his company. Simon refuses, insisting his acting career is alive and mentioning the Wonder Man audition. Eric ridicules him for chasing impossible dreams. When Trevor speaks up, Eric shuts him down, reminding him he doesn't belong. Later, Simon gifts his mother an ice cream maker she's wanted for years. Eric undermines the gesture, suggesting Simon bought it with her own money. When Martha mentions American Horror Story, Simon admits he was fired. Eric pounces. Overwhelmed, Simon slams his fists into the granite counter, cracking it apart, and storms out with Trevor following. On the roadside, Simon opens up about his powers and admits no one outside his family has ever seen them. He fears the Dorman clause could permanently end his career. Trevor softly sings a hymn to calm him, but Simon asks to be alone. Trevor steps out, removes the wire, and destroys the SD card. When he returns, both their phones light up. Simon has been called back for Wonder Man. The story then shifts to Damar Davis, a nightclub doorman who controls access to the VIP section. Josh Gad, a frequent guest, treats him like an old friend and is always waved in. After closing one night, the club's owner criticizes Damar's lack of ambition. Out back, Damar notices a Roxxon dumpster leaking a glossy black substance. Compelled, he touches it and vanishes. He awakens in a surreal in-between realm, filled with glowing doors, then jolts awake in his kitchen. Horror sets in when his dog passes straight through him. The next night, when a fire traps club patrons, Damar instinctively phases through a blocked door and leads people to safety. Gad later offers him a job as a bodyguard, then casts him in a movie called Cash Grab, built around his powers. The film becomes a massive hit, but the fame fades quickly. Damar's career collapses until Gad pitches Cash Grab 2. During filming, Gad throws bags of cash through Damar. On the third throw, Gad himself phases through Damar and disappears forever. Damage control places Damar under surveillance. Hollywood reacts by passing the Dorman clause, banning superpowered individuals from working in film and television. Actors must now declare they have no abilities. Simon watches the news, then celebrates his callback with Trevor at El Capitan. Trevor enjoys the moment while Simon spirals. Trevor grounds him with breathing exercises. Meanwhile, Cleary pressures Trevor over his lack of communication. Later, a drug dealer confronts Trevor over unpaid debts, forcing Simon to use his powers in public. Though Trevor insists no one saw, a kid on a scooter captures everything on a GoPro. After a chase, the kid, Jaden, offers a trade: retrieve his stolen bike in exchange for the footage. The situation spirals into chaos, but Trevor deletes the footage just as police arrive. Janelle calls with urgent news. Von Kovac's callback is happening now. Simon and Trevor race to the audition. Trevor unexpectedly nails an audition for the Mandarin, slipping effortlessly back into the role. At Kovac's home, improvisation exercises push Simon to the edge. He dreams of losing control and killing someone with his powers. He wakes shaken, admitting to Trevor that exposing his true self could end his career. Trevor reminds him that acting is about humanity, not powers. In the final audition, Simon is cast as Wonderman and Trevor as Barnaby. They celebrate until damage control arrives to take Trevor back to prison. Trevor claims Simon is dangerous and asks for more time. Simon's life transforms. Fame skyrockets. Trevor becomes his emotional anchor. Trouble comes when a New York Times reporter begins digging. Trevor's deal with damage control is exposed. Simon confronts him and walks away. Overwhelmed, Simon unleashes a catastrophic surge of power that destroys the set. To protect Simon, Trevor releases a new Mandarin video taking the blame. He's arrested. Simon continues filming as Wonder Man becomes a hit. Eventually, Simon tracks Trevor down in a black site facility and breaks him out. Together, they escape into the sky, leaving Cleary staring at yet another impossible failure.